As the title says, if you ask Chinese police that who is more evil, sex offenders or the gay romance writers, they probably answer you that the writers. Here are some remarks on Chinese police long-distance cross-provincial capture of network writers. Honestly, I don't realize that we still need to talk about creative freedom in 2025, but yeah, we still do, especially if you are in China. For someone don't know about details, spoiler alert, this video will contain one online literature platform, haicangbook.com. To explain further, this website holds a very high position in the original gay romance fiction creation field, equal importance to the position of AO3, Archive of Our Own, in the fan fiction creation field. Okay, enough with the background, let's cut to the chase. I don't know the reason why the Chinese police are going after the female writers on Haitang. Maybe because homosexuality is a rather rare sexual orientation in China. P.S. China has not yet legalized homosexual marriage. Or maybe they just don't expect that there are such a large group of readers and writers of gay romance fiction that they despise in China. Or maybe they just want their official performance to look better and line their pockets as well. But it's just a guess, we don't know for sure. From June to August last year, the police in Anhui province have summoned and arrested over 50 authors from Haitang on charges of producing and disseminating obscene materials for profit, among which the top writer Lin Jian was sentenced to 4 years and 6 months in prison, ordered to return 1.85 million yuan in writing earnings, and sentenced to a fine of 1.85 million yuan. There are two aspects where this punishment is deemed unreasonable. One, Lin Jian was sentenced according to the law in Act in 1997. All the quantitative standards were calculated based on the conditions of the early days of the undeveloped internet, which means they can impose the sentence as they please. Two, the punishment imposed on Lin Jian was too severe. Let's make a comparison between the punishments for the male offenders and hers. It's all recent news. A male gang that forced an underage girl into prostitution was only sentenced to 2 years in prison. A man forcibly dragged a primary school girl into a side alley in broad daylight and was spotted on spot. Fortunately, currently he has only been detained in prison for 15 days. A man was sentenced to only 1 year and 9 months in prison for molesting the 11-year-old daughter of his female colleague at the workplace. A male motorcycle driver who harassed a female passenger on the street but failed to succeed ended up beating her and causing her minor injuries, yet he was not punished at all. This was just because he was diagnosed with schizophrenia. A male ride-hailing driver was sentenced to only 3 years in prison for raping a 16-year-old female passenger. The circumstances of each of their crimes were even more serious and severe than hers, yet none of them received a harsher punishment than her. It seems to me that the police in Anhui province view the writers of gay romance fiction as a greater social threat than sex offenders. The police do not severely punish the actual male sexual crimes and sexual violence that occur in reality, but by severely, I mean chemical castration and capital punishment. But instead, strictly control the sexual fantasies of women online. How ironic! Then something even more infuriating happened. Since April this year, police from multiple districts in Lanzhou City have participated in the operation to capture the authors of Haitang in another city. This year, the number of authors arrested has far exceeded 50. Authors from places like Chongqing, Sichuan, Guangdong, Fujian, and Jiangsu have been summoned. Among them, there are many students in school. It is worth noting that the authors caught this time had relatively small amounts of money involved in the case, ranging from a few hundred yuan to tens of thousands of yuan. Among them, there were also some free writers. Yeah, you hear me right, free writers. They even didn't receive any creative income. The summoned authors not only have to bear the costs of their own travel and airfare, which is already a huge blow to those who use writing as a means to improve their living conditions, but they will also be sentenced to triple the fine. Some of them are even facing the threat of having their graduate school admission offers revoked. What's even more disgusting is that from the police station to the court, every part exists verbal insults and discrimination of the relevant personnel towards the author, like judging their appearances, asking questions about their boyfriend and sex life, and saying that what they wrote was abnormal. It's none of your fucking business. How dare you ask questions like that? Where's your professionalism and respect for women? Sure, what is really pissing me off is that you police would actually went across the province to the rental house of an author with only 1,000 views and 11 chapters of free content, just to conduct a 5-hour educational criticism session. I say fuck that shit, fuck the patriarchy, fuck the loving dick society, for treating women like shit while treating men like God. I think women living in China are too repressed and fearful, afraid of being gazed, groped, and sexually harassed by men, or even worse, being stabbed by some lunatic man. Now we women cannot even create any gay romance fiction that contains extensive sexual description online. How great is that? Ironically, they actually depend on our women to increase the birth rate of China. I believe that no matter how vigorously you promote the policies for having a second or third child, there will be still no women willing to get married and have children in this society. The reason is simple. The safety and legitimate legal rights for women are not being guaranteed. Here is an interesting paradox in China. If you are under 25, you will not accept any knowledge about sex education from the school. If you are over 25, suddenly you are so mature and have such a good understanding of sexual knowledge because everyone around you will be urging you to get married and have children. Perhaps it is the lack of comprehensive sex education for the entire population that makes us so afraid of talking about sex, leading to the occurrence of so many sexual crimes. The reason why I chose to release this video on this platform is that Chinese social media, including Bilibili, Weibo, and Lit Weibo, have completely blocked the posts that speak out for these female writers, and they deserve much more attention and exposure. Come on, let's make it a big news.